one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Thank you everyone for coming out to the Will County Republican Central Committee meeting for the month of April. I wanted to do something a little bit different. This was supposed to actually start during the meeting read. We were running a little late and getting things set up. So I want to bring on a gentleman that's going to actually introduce another act that was supposed to start just before. So I would like to introduce Armando the Blacksmith to introduce the next guest.
I appreciate that. Give a big round of applause to Otis Wilson. Thank you guys. You guys clap it up. I love you, the movie Shaft. Give it up. My name is Armando. It's L. Blackskin. Black skin. What's going on, everybody? Give yourself a big round of applause. The Will County Republican Central Committee. And we want to, they said, guys, we need to laugh around here. That laughing is everything. That's what my mama says. Life is short. You don't know if today's your last day. So we came out. We want to have a good time today. We're raising money for the kids. So everybody clap it up for the kids. Clap it up. My kids, I gotta pay child support on Monday, so we gotta come up with this money, and I need you guys to help me with that. Okay. That went real good. I want to give it up for George Pearson. Let's give it up for George. Where's George at? Thank you. Steve Bellich, where's Steve? Steve, where you at? Stand up, Steve. Well, you are standing. Okay, all right, good job, Steve. We're making it in this business. Let's give it up for Ruben Hasbino. Give it up for Ruben. Give it up. You're never gonna make it in this town, Ruben. You're never gonna make it. All right, so I got a little surprise for you guys. He's a good friend of mine. I asked him to come out here. Ruben told me there was gonna be 10,000 people here today, and I appreciate that. And I told everybody on MySpace there was gonna be 20,000, so we need you guys to get a little bit closer. But I got a good friend of mine. Let me tell you something. He's one of the biggest comics I've known. He's been on Comedy Central, Zane. He's been on tour all over, and I know you guys are going to enjoy him. He's a good friend of mine. The one and only. Give a big round of applause for Rick March in the house. Give it up for him. Clap it up, everybody. Clap it up. Oh yeah, you Republicans are in trouble. Here we go.
Well, there you go.
I'm sorry. Let's move on to the meeting. If we can have a roll call, please. Judy, you have the list.
I do. Sorry. Am I loud enough without that? No? Okay. All right, Shanahan. I know there's two of us. If I could just have one person. Crete. Anybody from Crete? Custer. DuPage.
One.
How many altogether?
Two.
Three. Okay, thank you. Florence. Frankfurt. Thank you. Green Garden. Homer. Your hometown here. How many do we have here?
Like four.
Four sound good? Yeah. Okay. Jackson.
What?
Joliet.
1, 2, 3.
Keep going.
I'm up.
Did we end up with 3? 2. Okay. Lockport.
2.
Manhattan. Monique.
2.
New Lenox. Peatone.
3 New Lenox.
3 New Lenox? There's 4. Okay. Peatone. Plainfield. 2. Thank you. Reed. Troy. I need a number, please.
4.
Thank you. Washington. Wesley.
I've been looking right at me.
Wheatland.
4.
Thank you. Will. Few more guys. Wilmington. And last but not least, Wilton. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. At this time, we'd like to recognize our first-time attendees and any of our candidates that may be here that are seeking office or looking for either placing yourselves out there, throwing your hat into the ring to get ready to, try to represent the Republican Party here in Will County. So we've got several candidates here tonight that are looking to throw their hat out there. We have a first-time guest here as well. Any first-time guests? Yes, sir. Bill. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Brent Porfirio, Homer Township, precinct 18.
Outstanding. Thank you for coming out.
Jeff Pearson, Troy.
Outstanding. Thank you again. Anyone else? We like to recognize our first-time guests here because it's important, so we get to know who they are. So let's do them a round of applause. All right. So any of our candidates that are here tonight that are seeking office for the first time, we usually give anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes. That first 3 minutes is to allow you that opportunity, that elevator speech, to let us know any updates of what's going on. Your first time here, we usually give you 5 minutes. Therefore, you get a couple extra minutes to tell us who you are and what you're about. So do we have any first-time candidates here tonight? Yes, sir. Come on up and introduce yourself.
Thanks, George. Hi, and thank you for having me tonight. My name is Ted Grotto, and I've spent my entire adult life in the private sector. Because of that, I have no political resume to tell you about tonight. I'm running for Congress in Illinois' 14th district because I will be a strong voice for freedom, private sector growth, fiscal responsibility, and smart government, not big government. Briefly on my background, I was born in Toledo, Ohio, and adopted into a very loving, hardworking family. I attended St. John's Jesuit High School, and upon graduation went to the University of Notre Dame in South Bend. I walked onto the football team there and was lucky enough to play for Coach Lou Holtz. My final season, the fall of 1987, I earned the starting field goal kicker's role, was the team's leading scorer that year, and honored to be named first team academic All-American. After Notre Dame, I moved to Chicago for a very sound and noble reason. I was chasing a girl. My high school sweetheart, Sarah Anderson, got here a year and a half before I did, and this August we will celebrate our 29th wedding anniversary. We have 3 wonderful daughters, ages 22, 20, and 16, and we're very proud of them. I've spent my entire adult life as a businessman. I began at a place called the Mid-America Commodity Exchange in downtown Chicago and grew from those humble beginnings. There were no corporate guarantees, pensions, or bailouts for independents like me, but there was a lot of opportunity. Like so many small business owners can understand, I took on risk and through hard work have been able to achieve my version of the American dream. My priorities to date have been 100% my family, my business, and my local community. I've been very active in youth sports since moving to Naperville over 20 years ago. In fact, I've coached in well over 1,500 girls basketball games in our area, strictly as a volunteer, and I still coach a 5th grade girls team today. I love it, and I've been proud to make a positive impact. As I look at what's happening in our country today, I don't like what I'm seeing, and I feel compelled to add my voice to the public debate. I want to do my part to make our community a better place and go fight for the future of our country. I'm very proud of our country, but I feel like our federal government is too big, spends too much, and is more concerned with grabbing power than in doing what's right for our citizens. If you send me to Congress, here's what I plan to do. First and foremost, protect our freedom. Ronald Reagan said freedom is never more than 1 generation away from extinction. I want to work hard to speak out against the false promise of socialism and a big government agenda and fight to keep our freedom. 2, I want to promote the idea of term limits for members of the House and Senate. Might be a long shot, but I will push for that. 3, I want to keep our taxes low, but cut the loopholes and simplify the tax code. 4, I want to help small businesses grow and succeed here in our community. 5, I want to help pass legislation that will secure our borders, protect our sovereignty as a country, and provide for immigration reform based on common sense. It's time for Congress to act on that issue. And 7, I'd like to lower healthcare costs, but do so by reintroducing free market principles, not by relying on a massive one-size-fits-all big government program. I can also promise this: if elected, I will serve with honesty and integrity every single day I'm in the office. Our founders believed in citizen legislators, and that's what I'll be as long as you'll allow it. I'll be in DC representing you and fighting for these things we believe in, not in building a Washington career. And when my time is done, I'll be back here enjoying a better Illinois and hopefully coaching my grandkids. I hope you'll consider supporting a newcomer and an outsider with over 30 years experience in the private sector who wants to do this for the right reasons. I kicked footballs in college. If you give me the chance, I'll go kick some asses in Congress. Thank you.
Any questions, Phil? Hold on, will you take a few questions?
Yes, absolutely. Sorry.
You had a question?
No.
Oh,
That's
my
not
bad.
good job.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All that for nothing. Thank you, guys.
Anyone else?
14.
Mr. Mark? No, it'll be you, sir. Come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I know some of you know me. There are probably folks in here that don't know me. I can't actually announce because I am not announced in any race, but I am strongly considering 2 races. One of the races, I do live in IL 14. It's where I've raised my family. We have our 4 adult children, and we have our first grandchild. She's a gem. Her name is Gemma, and her initials are GEM. So she's been a gem for us. She's 6 months old this week. But, you know, I'm here tonight because of the same reason you're here tonight. I know you're all here tonight because you love America, and I love America, and that's why we're here. That's why we do what we do. You know, we have a problem in this country. We have a problem in the state. We have a problem in Washington, D.C., where we have people that run for office, and you guys know this. We have people run for office, and when they get elected, they don't do what we ask them to do. When we back them, we worked hard for them, we walked the precinct for them, we made phone calls for them. And we see that especially here in Illinois. And as you know, in the last couple of years, we've had some candidates that promised us to do things and or not do things, and they didn't do it. And so what motivated me 4 years ago to jump into a race against Senator Mark Kirk was he was one of those guys. He was a guy that would not stand for the things he said he would stand for, the things we elected to do. He was one of the top Republicans in Congress who was backing funding for Planned Parenthood. He was doing, he was out there doing things that a Republican shouldn't do. We stand for life. We stand for liberty. We stand for freedom. We stand for limited government. And I'll be relentless in my pursuit to cut the size, the scope of the federal government, to defend the Constitution. We got Democrats running around this country telling us that that Second Amendment is not ours, they're going to take it away. We need someone that'll go to Washington to fight and take it away. And that is really the bottom line. It's what motivated me 4 years ago. It's what motivated me in the last couple of years as the chairman of the Kendall County Republican Party. It's what's motivated me to get out and work for candidates. Even candidates I know that don't have much of a chance. We had a candidate, Rick Live, here in Will County Sheriff, great candidate, got no backing from our establishment hack Republican Party, the HRO. So I'm out there to fight for you, fight for this country, and fight for our Constitution. And whatever race I end up getting in, that's what I'm going to be doing. So I would appreciate your support. Whoever the nominee is, though, I'll tell you what, if they win this district and this state, they're going to be our nominee. We need to take them to Washington, and we need to take back Washington from Lauren Underwood, from Sean Castine, and from Dick Durbin. And those are our targets, and those people need to go down. We need to take them out. So thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Anyone else? All right, we'll move next on to our agenda will be any other brief announcements, any fundraisers or events that are coming up that we need to know about. Yes, Dawn.
Troy Township Republicans have scheduled Peggy Hubbard, who is running against Dick Durbin, to speak at our June 13th Flag Day fundraiser. There'll be more details on the calendar, but just an announcement for that to say that date.
Awesome, thank you. Any other events, announcements that we need? Yes, Kat.
Sunday, May 5th, a loyalty day parade in Lennox, the Elephants, and all the Republicans will be there. Kickoff is at 2 o'clock if anybody wants to join us.
What date?
Sunday, May 5th, next Sunday.
Next Sunday.
Yeah, line up on Cedar Road. Look for the elephants.
Look for the elephants. All right. Anyone else? Yes, sir, Mr. Ronco.
June 10th, Margo McDermott's fundraiser, Hailstorm Brewery, in the park, $50 a person, 6 to 8. She's out there now working 15 hours a day in Springfield, making that against life was miserable. She's doing that at the end of the month, and so you can relax, orders there. Come on out and have a beer, and tell her she did a good job.
Outstanding. Yes, Jude.
Also, I had sent out an email reminding everybody about these, I just lost my train of thought. The training that is going to be up in Kendall County and St. Charles. Stan Bond has always put together the training. They are taking that on. Ed's going to be doing a portion of it. So that is on Saturday, May 11th. And I know that it is well worth the trip to go up there for it. It is free. They do ask for a donation for a DVD that you get. That is well worth it. It has a tremendous amount of information. No matter how many times you go to a training like that, you're always going to learn something new. So that's Saturday, May 11th. There had been some information, and we'll be putting out more as we get it.
Outstanding. Thank you. Yes, Debbie.
Unfortunately, it's not until May 11th, Saturday, May 11th, at 1 o'clock, will be Forgotten Warriors Memorial, be dedicated in Shannon, Illinois, at 1 o'clock. And it's already there, the place, so they have a lot of exciting things going to happen. They're going to have veterans there, they're going to have the K9 dogs for veterans is going to be there. So it's going to be a really nice event if you want to come out and support the veterans. That will happen at Shannon State Park at 1 o'clock.
Any other announcements, events that are coming up that we should know about? A lot of these.
What time is their event? St. Charles.
The St. Charles.
What time is it?
Starts at 8 in the
I
morning,
think it starts at 8.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on the calendar. Right?
It is on the calendar.
All right. Nothing else? No other events?
Yeah, I got it down as 8 o'clock.
8 a.m.? 8 a.m., Mike. Next item on the agenda is legislative and county board updates. I know we have a couple board members here tonight, and we want to start with Steve. Anything that we should be aware of from the county board?
Just wait to see if the Democrats are going to bring a real minister or pastor, or if they're bringing a moon goddess or a witch for our prayer. And that's one concern. I've got to figure a way to go out if they bring a double worship, but that could happen too. But the other side of it is the budget will be coming up soon. We're going to start talking about the budget. And as soon as that hits, you guys are going to be hearing a lot because Republicans will be screaming. It's our job now. put them in a box and make them not have no way to get out, make them suffer. So one of the things that we did last week, I read into the minutes a resolution that was passed in 2008. So we are now a sanctuary county, but we call it Second Amendment County.
Here.
Nice.
And I'm sure Gretchen got some more to add to this stuff.
Actually, all I was going to say was that the only important thing that happened was that Steve found out that we actually passed the Second Amendment resolution back in 2008, and really rubbed it in the Democrats' faces, and they hated every minute of it, and it was fantastic. And you know, the great thing, he told me the story. So the great thing is he actually found out from a staff member that this had happened, because the other board members didn't remember. And we've been trying to pass that pro-Second Amendment resolution recently, and the Democrats really fought it every step of the way. And come to find out, it's already been done. And now, if they want to get rid of it, now they have to be on record voting against the Second Amendment. So, like I said, rubbing the Democrats' faces in it is, I love every minute of it, and you know, just all props to Steve and Beth Adams, our staff member.
I think the one thing I'd like to mention is regarding the township clerk, the bill where they want to eliminate the township clerk. Our Lauren Ferry, she's refused to comment on that, and I think that she should be able to come to our legislative committee and explain the situation and what's going on with that. So at the next legislative meeting, I am going to again ask why she isn't able to come to the desk and speak with us and answer questions, and also from the audience if there is any. She refused at the last meeting, which I don't understand how an elected official can refuse. And so I think it's something we need to continue to ask for answers. So that's the one thing we also need to continue to talk about.
Thank you, Judy. Do me a favor, announce yourself and what district you represent.
Julie Wcrcc, and I'm District 11, South Naperville.
I got a question. I know we have lawyers in the house, right? Now, Mike Long asked Lauren, I guess the clerk that we have as clerk, if she hired a consulting firm, and he didn't get an answer. And Jim Moose just asked her at the full county board meeting, she's just shaking her head no. While she's doing that, she had a consulting agency in Springfield. So she says that she never hired him. So I choose to believe our clerk. So I want to know, how do we go about prosecuting the firm that said they're representing the county without our knowledge? Is that impersonation or lying or whatever? But how do you prosecute that? How do you force the issue? I brought it up to the state's attorney, not Jim Glasgow, but the one that was at our meeting, and he got all flustered. He didn't know how to answer my question. So I just figured I'd pose it to any attorney here that can tell me, do we need to get a civil suit and then sue? Because I really think that TJM Consulting is a problem and they need to be prosecuted and go to jail. Because I believe Lauren Ferry would not lie.
So hi, I'm Mike Rizzo. I'm the minority leader for our caucus. Just to piggyback on what they all said, everybody's aware that the township clerk scenario was basic retaliation. Basically, Natalie Manley, who's good friends with Lauren, wanted to get Denise Musgrove, who ran against Lauren, brought out the fact that she was a felon down in Arizona, and Beth Ann May, who was the township clerk in Joliet, who supported Denise. Basically, Natalie was trying to get the two of them out. So she veiled it under the guise of, smaller government, and let's do a pilot program and kick these two off. And where Lauren's butt's going to be in the ringer is Natalie's going around telling everybody that Lauren was in on this for the last 3, 4, 5 months, and Lauren's not admitting to any of that. So at some point, I had a conversation with Lauren, at some point she's going to get thrown under the bus. So that's a good thing for us. The nice thing is we always say that the Republicans tend to eat their own, they fight amongst themselves. Democrats are great at it. And you got to give them a little rope so they can hang themselves. That's what they're doing on the county board right now. They have a couple of socialists on there. But one of them wanted to create a resolution that would immediately ban all plastic bottles from any store in Will County. So I guess you would go into the store, there'd be nothing on the shelves. So, I get green. I'm all about green, but that's insane. So they have a lot of fighting going on within themselves. We're trying to foster that a little bit, help them along the way. We're trying to engineer who might be the next executive in case Larry should decide to step down before his term's over, so that we could have something easier to beat. So there's a lot of things in the work. The main thing we're doing is trying to let them fight amongst themselves. And secondly, since I'm in a lot of leadership meetings, and I wish everybody could see them, because basically I'm running a meeting, because Denise and her sidekick, Mark Ferry, really don't know what to do. So she just restates what I said and then makes it her own. I will say one thing, they are the best at taking credit. We need to take more credit for ourselves. And I've been telling the story that over the last couple of years, when we were in control and breaking ground on different projects, we always let the minority leader speak and say something. I have been asked once to speak at our last couple of ground breakings. It's all them, all day, all the time. So we all have to remember that. We've got to take credit, and credit is due, and don't include them. If they're not doing it, don't include them. But we're working our magic there, so things are on the right path. The goal, I said, as minority leaders, we will never do anything that hurts the county, that doesn't move the county forward. We just have to engineer it the way we need to engineer it. And I will tell you, the head of the finance committee has already asked, how do you raise the taxes to the backs? It's already asked. They've already asked about a gas tax. They're asking every question possible to see how can we get more money from the people. So our job on our caucus, and Steve will be vocal on that for sure. We're just going to have to keep beating them down to make sure that they don't get any of those things through. Right, exactly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another reason why we need great candidates to stand with Steve, with Mike, with Judy, and with Gretchen on the county board. Because if we don't take that county board back, and not just in the county board seats, but we have a great chance this round to win the county executive spot as well. And to be able to get control of that position and really truly make some changes again here in throughout Will County, and make this a destination spot for anyone that wants to actually come and raise their family without the dreaded taxes and the overweight, the overbearing weight of the government sitting down on them. So again, thank you, each and every single one of you, for what you do every single day at the county board. And again, it's not just those board meetings. Ray Tumanello, who's not here tonight, I probably was spending 2 or 3 days there before my surgery at the county board, and he was there each and every single one of those days as well. So there are a lot of meetings that they attend that they do not get credit for. So again, thank you for all that service that you put in. And I know the salary sucks, but thank you. All right, next item on the agenda, if there's, Kathy, anything from Marco's office you want to?
Please get the word out that the graduated tax, there's nothing fair about it. And it's not about the rates you keep seeing on TV. It's a bait and switch. They want to get the authority to raise tax rates at will. And the rates have nothing to do with it. We had a very great town hall Thursday night. Over 130 people came. But people really need to understand that the millions of dollars they're spending on TV, calling it a fair tax, is not because it's fair. If anybody has any questions about the details, feel free to see me afterwards. Thank you.
All right, then we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Will be a general. Yes, sir.
I'm really amazed with all the money they're spending on television. There hasn't been some kind of a counterattack on that from this standpoint. That I would like somebody to ask the question, a guy who is pushing for a fair tax, how sincere can he be when he avoids $300,000 in personal property tax on what we have? And I don't hear anybody asking that question.
About the money. The guy doesn't even give us money. Well, really, he is, they're trying to sell you on rates. But what they want to do is change the Constitution that say we can set any rate we want. You know how your property, you know how at your local level your property taxes, these boards decide how much money they're going to spend and then they tax to that level. Well, the constitutional amendment, what they're asking for with this graduated tax, will give the General Assembly the same authority. We'll decide how much we're going to spend, and then we're going to tax you for it. So if you trust the General Assembly to be able to do that, I guess you can think about it as fair. But if you don't trust the General Assembly with the ability to determine what comes out of your pocket, it really behooves everybody to get the word out that there's nothing fair about this proposal.
Well, the 37 states that do have progressive taxes, they have, most of them have no better financial stability than the state of Illinois.
No.
It's all with the spine of the legislators to say no for a lot of spending programs. So you're right, once they pass that, they can manipulate any bracket they want at any time. And I just did my taxes in that little easy form usually was a lot more complicated, and I can see a number of different loopholes. I don't like to call them, but deductions in there that the people who are at the top end are going to pay the money.
Yeah, they're trying to fool people by worrying about the markets. It's not about the markets.
I have a question. That's an excellent point that was brought up here. We get our butts kicked when it comes to communication wars on every strategic and important issue we have. Who would it be within the Republican Party structure? Whose responsibility would it be to launch a counter-attack about the very deception that you're talking about? He's right, we don't hear anything. You hear some of the policy people, they send out their stuff, they do their due diligence. Where are our warriors? Where are in the party I'm talking about? The people that actually have been around for a while that should be doing, who should be doing it?
Well, I mean, here I am talking to all you guys.
I mean, top officials of the party, I'm saying, isn't it their responsibility? Isn't it Durkin or whoever?
Well, part of the problem is there's not billions of dollars sitting around that somebody can just write a check for and want their own TV ads.
Well, Democrats say no problem seeming to extort that money from somebody to pay for it.
I have a recommendation for that. If we want to turn the voter apathy around, and we got to reach out to the people who are left, we're becoming outnumbered. There's a lot of people who feel the same way we do, but they just don't vote. We have to get a referendum on the ballot, something that is going to tick everybody off and make them so angry that they realize this is going to happen unless you vote. And we've got to get that on our ballot because we need another way to reach out to people to tell them that they have got to take 5 minutes to vote. We can't hit every house. We can't, it's impossible. I did more than I could ever imagine, but there were thousands of houses I still couldn't hit, and thousands of people that never answered their phone. They listened to my message, but maybe they didn't listen to my message. How do you reach those people? Well, you gotta get them mad. You have to get something on the ballot that they know, I better get in there and I better vote. So if there's a way to do that, that's something to consider.
I just want to say one thing.
There's going to be a series throughout the state of town halls. The entire state, all the Republican caucus is having a series of town halls about the graduated tax to educate. If you know there's a town hall in your area, attend, get educated on it. Help the people who are trying to get the words out, pack the room. I mean, people can try, but it takes a lot of people to get the word out.
That information is usually on the website and Facebook. Share it also. And you want to talk about what we can do to put on the ballot? Get good candidates and put them on the ballot that's actually talking about it. And hopefully they will also get the fire in the belly of the folks.
And one thing I want to say real quick is that we make excuses with not having enough money, not having enough this or that. Steve Bellich is not a millionaire. Everybody in Will County knows of Steve Bellich, and he does it the right way. He does it social media-wise. He gets, I mean, he gets on a bully pulpit. He lets everybody know what he thinks, and they listen. We need to get to the Jim Durkins of the world, everybody, social media, everybody here, send him an email and ask him what he's doing about these things we're discussing tonight, and get an answer. How much?
Jim Durkin was at the town hall. He's planned a whole series of them.
Okay, well, I haven't heard of it. I don't know if anyone else in here knows what he's
It's
doing.
been in the newspaper, it's been on Facebook. Do you sign up for your representatives' newsletters and read them when they send them to you?
Well, I'd like to say publicly.
This channel, it was on the Southtown Economist today.
Yeah, well,
There's part of it then, right?
yeah, I must be wrong.
So how many actually receive?
Not wrong.
How many actually get newsletters from their elected officials or signed up for the emails?
Put your hand down,
That's a good place to start. I even have Democrats that I signed up on just to see what they're sending out to other folks. And is it a lot of work? Absolutely. But that's part of the problem. We become weak, and I've heard that comment a couple of times as a party. We're only weak because we're not educated on what's going on. So it's hard for us to talk on a lot of the issues. So if we actually sign up on some of these websites and emails, I mean, we're checking emails going down the road. My phone can actually talk to me now. It's, I don't know, sometimes it's better than, listening to the kids or wife sometimes, some of the information that come across the phone. But that's something that you can actually do. So you're driving down the road, you can literally swipe across the screen and get the screen to read to you exactly what email just came in. So you actually, listen to a radio program, you actually can have that email read to you on your phone. Stay up to date. Technology is a mother right now, and we have to actually become masters of it.
Yes.
At our last Homer Township meeting, I think it was last month, Steve, if you remember, wasn't there a social media director type person that was peddling how he could get to the masses exponentially through social media, copying and sharing everything else? Does the Will County organization have anybody like that to help with social media?
Yes.
Yes and no. We have someone, our webmaster is over there, and we try to share as much as we can. There's several of us on the Facebook page and share. But we also need, when we share it, and when we turn around and share it on our personal pages, we need you guys to turn around and share it on your personal pages as well to get it out to your masses. Now, do we have someone actually assigned to it on a regular basis? No, sir.
The strategy.
Yeah. No, not at this time, but it is something that we're working on. It is a program, actually, and not just that, for training candidates as well. And that's something else we're going to cover at the next meeting. Dave, you have something?
Well, I was just going to say that we've had a radio show now we're going on our 8th year, I think. And we've had a lot of people in this room been on that show. It's on WIND, AM 560. There's several observations that I would make. The first one is very few candidates, particularly first-time candidates, have any idea whatsoever how to deal with media. They have zero. Now, there have been a few who've actually been pretty good, but by and large, they have no clue. We try and make it very simple. Gretchen and I both write as journalists, and we do the radio show, both. And We try and make it simple for people, and they make it difficult for themselves. You're going to be on a radio show, they want to know what to talk about. And I'll say, give me 4 points that you want to cover as a candidate, and then I'll talk about anything you want. Well, I'm not running, you are. They just don't know. You ask them, you say, you know, have you got a shot, we'll put it up for you. They advertise. No, I don't. You have a bio that we can use to introduce? No, I don't. I mean, they don't know how to deal with it. In the business, in print, we always talk about you have to fill the white space. You got to fill white space. On a radio show, 5 seconds of silence is an eternity. We got to fill it. People want information. You don't know how to give it to them. We can put it on town halls. It's no big deal to put it on a town hall. It's no big deal to get stuff on radio. Nobody, and I'll tell you the other big thing, the second half of that equation is dollars. It's money. Liberals have funding sources that are ungodly deep. Right. Madigan and Bloomberg and all of those people, and they fund this stuff. You know how much it costs to have a radio show right now? On WIND, it's $700 an hour. You want to put a radio show up, you can do it. $700 an hour. We've been doing this for 7 going on 8 years. We've sold almost no advertising. Almost none. Paying for it out of pocket. Until just recently. Now the station picked up our show themselves. But that's the point. You have to get serious about it. Social media, print media, television, radio, that's how you reach people. But if you don't know what you're doing, and you're not willing to support it economically, you're going to keep losing. It's that simple.
Here. So I'm glad Dave actually spoke up. Dave and Gretchen are 2 of the people that I'm actually speaking to about helping to design this candidate training course, to walk these candidates through putting together a press release, putting together that bio packet with your photo and headshot. One of the things that Ruben did here that was magnificent during his campaign, if you don't mind me bragging on you a little bit, he had a phenomenal video that was actually running on these screens in here during his fundraiser. The visual aspect of it alone was so appealing that it made people actually write checks just for looking at the video.
You know what, George? I'm glad you said that, because we can do video. I've offered several candidates over the years. I say, you know what? This is the way you want to do. You have a website. Let's do a series of 3-minute videos. And you pick a topic, and however many number of topics you have, we'll space it out between now and election day. And we'll put one up every week, 2 weeks, whatever it is. Nobody. Zero. We weren't charging them. I just said, I'll just do it for you. We'll just do it.
New candidates, are we hearing this?
We'll be hearing real loud and clear.
Those thinking about doing it, are we listening to this?
Yes. Sunday nights, 9 p.m., AM 560 on Target Radio.
Oh, I'm sorry.
One more time, Dave.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Sunday nights, 9 p.m., AM 560 on Target Radio, or you can go to YouTube and go to on Target Radio and you can watch us. We have cameras in the radio studio and you can watch the show. It's an hour.
My apologies.
9 to 10.
There were 2 great points brought up in this conversation. One of them was the money that you don't have to refute those ads. That's a major problem for the Republicans in this next election, because Pritzker has very deep pockets. I have always been an advocate of knocking on your neighbor's door and taking her to vote. As Berkowitz, you said, not enough people vote. I would love to see our legislators talk about property tax all the time. Property taxes are some of those things that we vote on ourselves, and it's been no more evident than Hinsdale this last election.
Right.
In the general election, they turned down a referendum for $160 million. Turn around a local election, people don't vote. If they made referendums to be voted on national elections, I think your outcome of spending on property taxes would be significantly different.
Yeah. Can I make a comment about the last 2 elections? Okay, an observation about the last two elections. Well, actually, let's go back to 2017. In my case, it was the Naperville City Council and the last election in November. The Republicans and the Democrats, they are completely different. We can blame money. I think money is a part of it, but it all comes down to organization. It comes down to the fact that we have Madigan and we have us. When I was walking every day in my district, I had people, I would see 4 to 5 people out there walking. And they weren't walking for one person. They were walking for the Democratic slate. They had professional fancy flyers, which had every candidate that you need to vote for. Color, I didn't have one. I didn't pick one up because it's illegal to do that. It was very tempting. But this was a beautiful piece of paper that you could carry right to the poll with you. We don't do that. We don't do that. When I was a first-time candidate, I was trying to figure it out all by myself, and it was tough. And then for the board, I knew a little bit more because I was a second-time candidate, but I was able to see the distinct differences, how they're all in. They're running for every office, no matter what. Every office is important. That's where we have to be. We've got to get to the next election, and we have to go out and we have to work for every candidate. And we did that in Wheatland Township. We walked our precincts, and we walked for every Republican candidate. And I think if we can do that more, get us all on the same page, even in other counties, I would reach out to people I know all over the state. I know a lot of people through scouting and everything else. Hey, I know this guy, he's running in your area. Reach out to your network, get them to vote for them. So I think if we can kind of work on a structure and build on those things, that'll be a big advantage to us as well.
We lost the last election because 49% of the vote was 18 to 29. JD promised legalization of pot. So think about it. Once the pot's legalized, are we going to get 18 to 29 back out voting? The other thing was they went out and they targeted early voting. We didn't do a good job at that. So that's why we lost. Our candidates were better than theirs, and our candidates won on election day. They lost because of the early voting. And then the other thing, everyone was talking about it, but the bottom line is, if you're going to run for office, it's on you. It's not on nobody else. It's not on Central Committee. It's not on your township party. It's not on your friends. It's not on nobody but you. You got to figure it out. And it's multifaceted. It's like a pie. It's a big circle, so you're going to pick out a little piece of it and concentrate on that, you lose. You got to get a piece of all 16 slices. It's on you to do it, nobody else. And now if somebody helps you, marron, that's like a gift. But you got to figure you're doing it on your own. Because no one, I'm telling you right now, when me and Mike ran last time, there ain't nobody coming out and knocking doors for us. And to be honest with you, we didn't knock doors because I found it a waste of time, because you average between 3 and 4 houses an hour. So if you do 8 hours, it's 32 houses in a day. Forget about it. You're not going to win doing it. You can't cover your precincts. So then you got to find ways to get to all the people or get them to come to you. But that's on you. It's not on nobody else. So when people say we have no money, well, guess what? You don't have to have a lot of money. It's nice to have it, but you don't need it. You can't get out mailers, but a mailer is just one piece of a puzzle. And so if you're worried about having enough money for mailers and then you let everything else go to crap, you're going to lose. So you got to overcome not enough money for mailers with something else. And I helped a guy with a local election. And everything that I told him, everything worked out perfect except the end. He was planning on doing a media blitz at the very end, and then the paper screwed him, didn't put his stuff up. But he still was okay, still won. So the last, the last part was three fastest through an election, the last part of the election, he didn't do anything. Because, not because he didn't, but it's because the media did that too, the paper. So I want to really tell everybody, if you want to win, you got to have the fire in your belly to go out and fight and figure it all out. You can ask people what they did that have won, but don't count on anybody. You got to count on yourself.
One more quick thing, Jim.
One last, so we can wrap up.
The hour before our show, AM 560 is the #1 conservative talk radio station in Chicago. And the hour before our show has just opened up. You can have, it's $700 an hour. You can have let's say the northern third of Illinois. You can cover all of the candidates and everything that affects roughly the northern third of Illinois. That's the broadcast range. For $700 a week. I can't believe that if you take all of the politicians and all of the people who have money in the northern third of Illinois, that you can't scrounge up $700 to have a radio show that's dedicated on the #1 conservative talk radio station. I just can't picture how that can't be. I mean, you can have a show that would do nothing but talk about the politics of Illinois and those who are running for office in the northern third of Illinois for $700 a week.
There it is. You think as a group we could raise $700 a week?
That's the people in Chicago that got money that really would like to see some change.
I don't see it being an issue. I'm actually speaking to a couple folks, and this is a slow process. One of the issues that has been overlooked are the central committees. There are a couple counties that are actually stepping up. Grundy is one that's actually doing most of the work for their candidates, from their mailers, designing their mailers and putting it out. Kane County used to do it. DuPage used to be pretty good at it, but a lot of infighting there, has kind of got that rumble going on inside the party that they no longer have that cohesiveness that they used to have. Will County actually used to do a lot of that. Again, a lot of split has occurred. One of the things, and again, I keep asking is, I want these meetings to be a little bit different, and I want these shared ideas so that everybody that comes in here walk away with something new, something that you never thought of or did prior to walking in the door. But you have to make sure when you walk out the door that you actually put it to good use. There are resources in here, candidates, that have to be utilized. These folks are here and they're telling you that they want to help. Go to them. Because when Dave says that zero approached them to do those videos, that's disheartening. For free. Ruben, you mind if I say how much you paid for your video?
No.
What was it, 16?
Well,
16,000. No, 1,600. 1,600 for his video. It was a great video, but it cost him and he paid for it. Here we have resources right here within the Central Committee that can actually literally help you out with that. Professional photographer, Matt Wiley. Matt, stand up. He's with the Will County Young Republicans. Grant records everything for all the meetings throughout Will County on all type of issues. We have resources right here through the Central Committee that should be utilized. Reach out to these folks. Matt does some great shots. He really does. He sent me some of the shots that he took the night of my inauguration. I tell you, I'm proud of him. I really am. Those headshots and those photos, here, real quick. You take a photo that you took with someone at one of your meet and greets or your fundraiser, and you send them a thank you card with that photo. What do you think that might do with that voter? That donor? Not just vote for you.
Give you money.
Yeah. They never support you. How? Has anyone here ever did that? Taking a photo, doing one of your campaigns, and then signed it and sent it as a thank you note to that person. But you got to make sure you know who that person is. It's very important that the people that are walking in the door, that you know who they are, that you have a sign-up list, so that when you take that photo, and you make sure that whoever's taking your photos, they're doing that follow-up to find out who it is, so that you can attach that name and personally sign that postcard and send it to them. That postcard and that photo is a whole lot cheaper than a mailer. Because that person, you think he might keep that card? You think he might share it? Think he send it to them digitally? Think they might share it on Facebook? How many folks go to fundraisers and want to take pictures next to these folks to be able to turn around and share it? Just a thought. These are the type of ideas and the creativity that I want to bring to the Central Committee. That's just one. So I brought a gentleman to one of our executive meetings, and he has an acronym that he uses, MOM, money, operations, and message. Or the other way around, message, operations, and money. But those are the three things that you need in most campaigns. How much money you will need, this depends on what type of organization that you're running. The type, what type of mailers are you planning on doing? Are you doing videos? Are you doing commercials? YouTube is cheap. Facebook is even cheaper. And you can be very selective with it. These are all just small tools. They're not one issue. You have to, it's all encompassing. You have to have it all. You can't have one without the other. But again, you have resources here to be able to do it. Yes, and we don't.
I'd like to tell you guys, everybody that's here, give yourself a round of applause. Can I tell you something? You guys care. You care about your community. You care about what's happening, because what's happening is people are forgetting about the traditional stuff that we grew up to. My grandfather was an Italian, Mexican, steel worker, Republican. He was a hardcore, Bobby Knight, yell at me kind of guy. And you know what he did? He used to talk to me. He used to tell me about what's going on in the world. He would give me the Tribune and say, read it, starting from the back, and then go to the front. And he would talk to me. And that's what's happening. So everybody here, you guys care about what's going on in your community. You care about what's going to happen to your grandkids and your kids and their kids, because nobody else is going to care about what's happening in your community. You guys are all one. We got to be one family up in here. And you can't just think about it's just me. You got to care about what's going to happen to our kids, because we ain't going to live forever. And that's what's scary about it, because that new generation, they don't think like we do. They think like everything should be given to them. And they don't understand how hard you guys worked all your life to get where you are. And that's what we got to remember. Everybody here should have their grandson. If you got a teenager, a grandson, bring them to the meeting. Let them understand, let them learn. You gotta teach them the old school values so they understand. You just come in here with your friend Nicole. Get your grandson. Bring him in here and say, you know what, you're gonna come with me today. And you're gonna hear about the real world. You're gonna see what is it about taking care of your parents. That's what's about making America great. Is teaching our young generation what it is to be a true American, about really caring about your community and making sure that people aren't just telling you a story that they're gonna make a difference, and they're not. They don't care about you. But everybody here, I know you guys care about, because you guys all came tonight on a Monday night, and I bet everybody worked all day, and you were tired, but you still came. And that's what it's all about. So I hope you guys keep on fighting for your community, teach your grandkids, your son, bring whoever their friends, tell your grandson, hey, bring one of your buddies. So next time you come to the meeting, instead of 100 people, we got 300 people in here. And that's how you're gonna learn. And then you guys gotta be the one to talk to them. So what do you want in life? What do you want in life? You can do whatever you want. But we got to teach them the old school values, because they're forgetting about it. Some of these kids don't even know what a newspaper is. They wouldn't even know where to find a newspaper. I bet you if you grab any of the kids, go give me a newspaper, they wouldn't even know where to go. They don't even know what a newsstand is. But that's what we got to get back to. We can't just let them read on Facebook, because Facebook and MySpace and all that is just telling them whatever they think they believe is. But when they gotta read a newspaper and read a real article about what's going on in the world, that's how they're gonna learn truth. And you gotta teach them. So everybody, give yourself a big round of applause for coming out tonight. And that's what it's all about.
Last couple of things on the agenda, and I'm going to let you folks get up out of here. I will entertain a general consent to accept the treasurer's report for March 2019. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second. So Jerry, motion, and who was the second? Second, Mike for the vote.
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Next item, approval of the minutes for March 2019. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Debbie, second by Steve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
The save the date information we've already talked about. We covered some of the items that are also on this list already. The Will County State Party, excuse me, Jerry. Sorry. Thank you. The Will County State Party is still, will actually started hosting some of their committee meetings already that we had announced last meeting. If you have not got involved in any of those, I suggest that you reach out to some of those individuals on there. I make sure that that's still on this month's agenda. Reach out to them and see what's going on. There's some interesting information that's going on those committees. If they're, I don't know if all the committees are complete or full, so you might want to reach out. If you, again, it's another way to get involved and see what the state is doing on that level, and bring that information back to your local, whether it's the central committee or to your township level. Ed, I know you sit on one of the committees. Anything that we should know?
The tough team is start organized and doing well. Illinois is not going to be forgotten. That's all in the face.
Judy. I'm going to bring up Judy. She wants to cover about our election judges and what we need to do.
Okay, real quick, everybody. I've been contacted by the county clerk's office that we need to really up our ante on getting some election judges. I don't know if you realize how important they are, but in my precinct alone, last election, we should have 5 election judges. We had 4, and one of them was brought over to be a pretend Republican, just so that we could have 2 and 2 at least. So the county clerk's office is going to be doing a large campaign to get election judges. Please talk it up. Share any information. They're going to be doing a lot of training this summer. They've got meetings, over 70 classes set up between now and the next election, which will be the primary. They're looking to pull in 1,700 new judges because they have to have backups. They have to have people cancel at the last minute. So they're looking for 1,700 new judges. Right now, their strongest needs for Republican judges are in Bolingbrook, Frankfort, Wilmington, and Crete. So anything that we can do, there's going to be a big marketing campaign on it. You do earn $150 for the day, but for anything it's an important, huge part for our election process. So somebody who wants to get a little bit involved, but not very, it's 1-2 days a year. So please encourage getting the election judges. They can go to the Will County Clerk, and it's all through there, and we'll also have some literature and stuff going out about it. So thank you.
To let you know how important those election judges are, Troy Township literally were giving out the wrong ballots for a while. That started at 6 o'clock in the morning, and the first error was not found until 10:55 a.m. So you want to talk about making sure that we're going to win elections. We can have all the great candidates in the world, and we can have all the money, and we can have the message. But if we don't have a good operation team, boots on the ground, working at the polls, being election judges and poll watchers to catch stuff like that, we will continue to lose elections. Bolingbrook was short. We had fights breaking out in Joliet. These election judges and these poll watcher positions are extremely important. I know it's hard to ask for you to come out and give up a day, but as precinct committee people, we should definitely be out working our polling location. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you're not at your polling location, then I have to question where your heart is with this. Take the day, set up a vacation day, a personal day, whatever it has to be. It's a day that you need to be out on election day working your poll. Because these mistakes are happening on a regular basis. Here's another example. Folks were showing up at the polls that had pulled or had asked for and requested mail-in ballots. So if they filled it out and actually turned it in by mail or someone came by and picked it up because the Democrats were coming by, they literally had a machine out going by picking up the mail-in ballots from folks. This is what the Democrats were doing. So now they've already turned in one ballot. Now they're showing up to the polling place to pick up another. And if it's a Democrat posing as a Republican election judge, you think they're going to care whether or not if you vote again? I mean, we make joke about the dead voting in Chicago all the time, but we forget about those one or two little votes. During the tabulation day, literally, we found one precinct that had a couple issues. One polling machine that had a couple issues. And I held back on certifying that just simply because it made a difference on who would have actually won in that race. But as we calculated the other polls and the other machines, everything worked out. But it literally changed who were the front runners in that one precinct. It was an open precinct. We did not have an election judge there. We did not have a precinct committee person there. Who knows? Maybe some of these little issues could get caught. So I'm asking you, if you're a precinct committee person, be at your polling place on election day, all day. Find a couple poll watchers and truly go out and find some election judges, because it will make a difference. It was up to 46% of mail-in ballots this round. Next election cycle, it could be 50-50. We have to get a game plan together for these mail-in ballots. It's also part of the candidates forum training that Dave and Gretchen and I are trying to put together. So we want our candidates and we want their teams to be well informed and well organized when they get ready to go out there and hit the ground running before we start passing out petitions this round. So keep coming back. If you got questions and concerns, this is the place to be. Tell your friends and family about it. That's pretty much it, unless there's anything else.
I did have one question. When they were counting the mail-in ballots, I was at the county building, and some of the envelopes were already open. I was under the impression that everything had to be open that day.
Not any longer. Again, Madigan changes the laws, and this is something else. This is another reason why we come to these meetings, to spread this information. The laws are constant. Election laws are constantly changing. It had actually informed me as we were finding out that they were actually opening up those absentee or mail-in ballots right away. And they did notify us. So I lodged a complaint about that. But as the ballots are coming in now, it is now law. As they're coming in, they're actually opening them and running them through. That's why they call it a retab, because they're re-tabulating. They're not tabulating them on one specific day any longer. So it's important. So again, this is where the organization comes in. Very important. You got to have now. We have a felon that is our clerk, and we have state representatives that are trying to eliminate our local clerks so that all the elections that occur will be controlled from the county level. And if they're opening up ballots and we have no poll watchers there during the week because our candidates have not put together a decent organization, we will continue to lose races. What do you want?
George, can I ask a question now?
Sure.
These envelopes had been opened
Yes.
on another day.
Yes.
So how can the candidate control that?
I think
Poll watchers are all doing, as those mail-in ballots come in, we get a list every Friday of who have actually sent in those ballots, or who requested a ballot. You can, and on there, if they've actually received the ballot. If you have a poll watcher that is actually at the county building, when they're getting ready to go through that process of tallying or running those ballots through their machines that are at the county building, the candidate themselves, or they can have a poll watcher there watching to make sure when they open up that envelope, matching the signature.
right, but these envelopes have been opened on a different day.
Yes, that's what I'm saying,
As
Judy.
they come in daily?
Yes.
So
You have to have somebody there every day.
every day?
Every day.
How is that possible?
It's the law.
As in, okay. So there's
You want to change it?
Well, there's two, yeah. How do we?
We need some people to fill all those positions to run for state rep and state senate to change the law.
And how do we vocalize this now and just raise holy hell about this?
We can raise holy hell all we want. If we don't have elected officials sitting in there to actually change the law, it doesn't matter. You think Madigan could care that we would be out there marching? How many pro-lifers were down in Springfield here, James? I mean, literally, filled it up. You think it mattered to them? It didn't mean a damn thing to them. Yes, Kathy?
I just wanted to point out that so many pro-lifers went to Springfield, they get to shut the Capitol. Did anyone see it on Channel 2, Channel 5, Channel 7?
Never see it on.
No, never heard of it.
You never see it on.
It's the only time I've ever heard that so many people showed up to protest, they had to shut the Capitol. And it was the pro-life. And you didn't see us speak about it. Or hear it on the radio.
It is important that we must have people, yes, at the county building, or make sure that we get a good Republican elected as clerk to watch over this. Because if we're leaving it in the hands of the Democrats, we will lose even more races. Yes, Dawn?
Another important thing, like you were mentioning about the election judges, you know how the precinct committeemen are sent by the county clerk a letter that has judges, election judges on there with phone numbers and where to contact them and, you know, talk with them, etc. That's really important. I've done that since we've gotten it, and there were 2 kicked off because they had multiple addresses, and when they checked it, they weren't valid and blah, blah, blah. But it is important because the precinct that you were talking about in Troy Township, where they were given the wrong ballot, even after they were told what to do, and they still kept doing it, which I personally feel it was on purpose. Of course. That precinct committeeman said he didn't recognize any of those election judges. He don't even know where they came from. So it is very important to send that letter back and get people, election judges in that you know or that friends know can recommend somebody. It's not even too early to start now, finding out, you know, who wants to be an election judge, you know, blah, 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 etc. That's all.
Yeah, thank you, great point. Anything else? Yes, Bob?
Different topic.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to mention something that could have come up in the earlier for the candidates, but I'm not a candidate, so I left it to the end. My name's Bob Bodak. I'm a volunteer precinct committeeman in Troy Township, number 16 in this current election cycle. I'm 2 different offices that'll be up for election in 2020. As Julie mentioned a little while ago, we need to make sure we fill every office this time, have a name for every office on the ballot, and not have someone else, you know, protect the Democrats on the other side. We need to make sure we get a state's attorney on the ballot this year. I work with Jeff Tomzak. He and I are doing the best we can working throughout the courthouse. Chuck, Dick, and George also. We're all trying to find interested individuals, and we're doing well. I think you've probably seen a number of articles in the Patch lately. George just the other day indicating that there are a number of people who are interested in this position. And maybe 2 weeks before, John Farrick in the Patch had an article even naming names, both the Democrats and the Republicans. There's some grassroots interest in taking out Jim Glasgow from this position. And it's vital that we get somebody on the ballot for the Republicans this year. So we're working on that end. If anybody else has some ideas, we're very interested. Also, this last election, the circuit judges, we lost our majority. All right? We need to keep what we have and work towards getting more back. I'm not sure who's going to be open for election, what spots are going to be open for election in 2020, but running alongside President Trump is going to be a number of good Republican judges who are already in the position and already doing a great job. Dan Rippey, Dave Carlson, Amy Bertani-Tomzak, Susan O'Leary, and our Chief Judge, Rick Shainstedt. They're all running for retention, and they need your support. There are a number of other judges running as well, but I want to speak to this crowd about those 5 people who are excellent. They're trustworthy individuals, and we need to make sure that we keep them on the bench as we try and grow and get back to our majority. So I just wanted to wet the whistle on those 2 campaigns, and I'll be raising my hand, I'll be helping them out, and I hope you do too. Thank you.
That's it. I would entertain a motion to,
Just one thing.
Yes, sir.
My name is Michael Conda. I live in Will County. Just one thing. So, J.D. Prisker, he ran on a platform to raise taxes, and he's very serious about that. And so I know a lot of the Republicans in the General Assembly, they're very, they're opposed to raising the income tax, especially this progressive tax issue. But there's other tax hikes that are being mentioned. One is a raise in the state gasoline tax, perhaps having an indexed rate of inflation. And a number of Republicans have mentioned, they've said mixed signals on that. And a fear that I have is that if there's any support for any Prisker tax hikes, it could complicate efforts in 2020 to get Republican seats in the General Assembly. So that's just a concern I have.
If in fact we actually have good folks in all of those seats, I don't believe that we will have that issue. Yes, will it bring out a lot of liberals or progressives for those tax increases? Absolutely. But in areas such as Markham and Harvey, where a lot of African Americans are losing their homes over property taxes, literally property that has been in their family for generations, they are starting to wake up to this whole thing of taxation without representation. This is where we're going to have to spend a little bit more time, even in Joliet and University Park. University Park, which is literally next door to me over on the east side of the county, it is disastrous. They have $23 million that has come up missing out of their general fund that they've been taking out of their TIF. The state's attorney nor the AG has bothered to go in there and do anything in there. Now, they just had an election to try to change out their mayor and some of their trustees. And they turned around and elected a gentleman that was actually on the board previously that was part of the, as far as I'm concerned, embezzlement of the TIF funds. These are the individuals that are electing your state reps and your state senators that are going down to Springfield. I cannot stress how important it is to go into these areas and talk to homeowners that are losing their property over this BS. Joliet, Bowen Brook is getting ready to get hit here. I just saw that for now, that balloon payment that's getting ready to hit on the golf course out there. We have got to get ahead of this right now. Right now. Mayor Clare barely squeaked out his last election. The tides are changing. People fled out of Cook County into Will, into DuPage. DuPage lost miserably up there. We're next. We have been lucky thus far because we have great people like Steve and Mike and Gretchen and now Julie on the board that literally fought to keep our taxes down. And they're still fighting to this day to keep it there. We have to support them and get good people to run
for the county board. Those who have ran before, to reconsider to start running again. And yeah, he laughed at my little $20 donation on here, but that's just in this last election, the last recording. But $20 for a candidate out there that needs to buy some yard sign, if he picked up $20 from every person in here, you think it might help him? I'll probably spend that on cigars a day. Just telling the truth, you know. If it means cut back on a couple cigars, that's what I'm planning on doing. My wife will probably enjoy it, but I won't be cranky. We have to make the sacrifices now, otherwise the real sacrifices we're going to make are going to hurt. All right, I'm sorry, I'm getting off my soapbox. I will entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Who's the first?
Mike Frizzle and Julie for the second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Whatever you earn.
Oh.